Hello, class. It's Monday evening, October 28th, our last day together. Hard to believe. It has been quite a ride, and I've been enjoying it along with you. So, I'm going to wrap up some of the thoughts of this final week of discussion and give you a little bit more of my viewpoint on what's important. We had the first part of the week really taking apart the idea of what we mean by local. What do we mean by local? And the second part of the week really looking at the very many diverse and yet unified. Unity and diversity is, after all, the Vermont state motto. The kinds of problems and wonderful models and wonderful activities that you're all sharing with each other in your own food systems. And I'm sure you will be doing even more of this kind of collaboration in courses to come as you journey through this program together. Um, so, what do we mean by local is something that I think everybody agrees is very relative. It's a relative term, and uh, it is uh, it is only definable in relation to a particular place and a particular bioregion. So, the idea of flexible localism, the idea of sense of community and caring, that spirit and intent is really what it's about. Um, some of you have gotten enthusiastic about the idea of perhaps trying to quantify local and turn it into a measure of sustainability, and that's got some interesting merit, but it also has some danger. Um, Maybe we could talk about the length of the supply chain as a quality of localness. Uh, we could also talk about the length of time that a place exists, or that a particular enterprise or person is in a place, and the knowledge of that place. And we'll talk a little bit about becoming native to a place in 5040. Could we have a local industrial model? Certainly every industry, every industrial operation is local to something. At any rate, the whole idea is that it's about relationships, and relationship marketing is becoming more and more of an acknowledged part of the local movement, because it's through relationships that we develop trust. And if our food comes from somebody or someplace that we have a relationship with, then it becomes more trustworthy. And this is contrary to the dominant model of creating brand loyalty and making people think that there is a particular um, value or trustworthiness because it is made by Coke or GM. So, and as far as how we make our choices, I might just mention my own particular order of preference for what I prefer to eat and what I will eat and how I make choices. So, the first most preference is for food that I've either grown myself or collected from the wild. And then next is the food that comes from somebody else I know that I've traded for. I've been trading vegetables for eggs lately, and you'll see some pictures of my chickens who are not laying right now. Um, and, then there would be food that is from a local organic producer who I may or may not know. I know many of them. Then the next step would be organically produced food or locally produced food that isn't likely to be harmful or toxic. And then uh, industrial organic food, and I do buy some of those things. I mean, I buy rice, I buy cooking oil, things like that are not locally produced. In some cases they can be. And I buy some snack food and chocolate, and I couldn't live without coffee. I admit it. So there's all kinds of ranges, and I will even buy conventional or industrial food on occasion, and in many cases in preference. Um, I'll buy Cabot cheese, which is local but certainly not organic. So it really is not a very hard and fast thing, but it is essentially the way I sort things out. So the commonalities and differences between and among all of you have been a major theme this week. Another major theme is the concept of food justice and the idea that we are in the business of changing society through the food system in this program and in our lives. And I think that that's really, really an important thing to understand. You all got that there's no single solution, that the models that work in one place don't necessarily work elsewhere or need to be adapted to fit the social, environmental, and political circumstances of other places. And not just in the U.S., but internationally as well. So I think the the moral of the story is that since local is a relative term and it cannot be the answer to everything, as we have seen that organic is not and could not be the answer to everything, we have to look at it all as another step in the right direction towards a really just food system. And a couple of other catchphrases that I think are uh, worth repeating in a distillation of what you've been talking about are these. One is that diversity builds resilience, and diversity in every sense I'm talking about. Another is that we want to move towards more collaboration rather than competition. And I made a post about that. Another very important one is that we need to become citizens and not consumers. And as long as we orient everything towards what consumers want or consumers do or consumer behavior, we are limiting ourselves to to marketplace solutions, and marketplace solutions will not make the kind of systemic changes that we need. So, in conclusion, I will just quote you a little slogan that I heard at a lecture on cosmology. The closing sentence of this mind-boggling trip through the known universe, the last slide these scientists gave us was this: think cosmically, act globally, and eat locally. So you see, it's really important. And I will look forward to seeing you in February at the residency, to working with you again in 5040, and to reading what you have to say. I will have your papers graded and your final grades in about 2 weeks, and I hope you enjoy your next course and all of the courses. And always, it's very important, have fun. Bye.